How you doing, Katie?
I'm good, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I think Christy needs to come on.
Yeah. She's going to be fashionably late.
No, she's here. Hi, Jenny. No, she'll be here. We had a moment where we couldn't figure out how to beat each other on our Instagram.
Oh.
Mostly me.
Well.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Christy, are you going to join? Maybe she cannot. You see all the people? You have to wave at them, Greg.
Yeah, I see them. I see them. Hey, you're waving.
Yeah, that's Christy. She's me now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She needs to invite herself to our video chat.
That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she even let you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to deny her anyway.
We'll throw a big sale.
Yeah.
Big alligator sale.
Yeah, she gave me the login so I can everything half off. Now I'll just get yours. I'll do the same thing.
Yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Now
I probably
what?
said no. She said yes already. I probably said no.
Give it all away.
Give it to me.
Yeah. Scroll up and see if you can see where I requested.
Scroll up. That's cute.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Look at how sassy I'm being.
Yeah, you are. I've never seen you use language like that.
No. Yeah, it's not. I can't see it. Hey, Jeffrey just said he'd give me $1 million.
I saw that.
All sales for Jenny. Okay. Everybody's behind this. I wonder if there's a way I can invite myself as Christy
Probably.
to this. No, it wasn't. That money is for me. I don't know why you can't come with us, Christy. Do you want to try to log back in as yourself? Apparently, I can only let Greg on.
You want me to leave?
Well, no. I was fine with that. I have all your stuff. We have to show all the stuff. Like, look.
Oh, yes.
Look at how low I am on some stuff.
You might want to order some stuff.
I do, actually. You guys should go back to work.
Well, I'm there now.
Hi, Kit. No, probably not. I'm bossy anyway, as you know. Well, I don't know why Christy can't join, but I don't know. You know what? Christy, do you want me to just get started and then, maybe we can switch? Oh, hey, Christy, maybe log in Or maybe ask if you can come in as Queen of Gator, because maybe K&M is just too antisocial. Okay. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Well, there's quite a few people still joining. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start as you guys come on. It's okay. Yes, I am. I totally am. We're doing this little live video because Christy thought that some of you might be bored in quarantine. I myself would not know that there was such a thing as quarantine if I didn't see people wearing masks at the post office, because that's pretty much how I live my life. And we thought it might be kind of cool to give you a starting place if you're interested in learning how to dye exotics. And we brought our friends Orion Calf. This is Greg, everyone. For everyone who doesn't know Greg.
Hello.
You should know Greg. This is the dye system that we use and that we teach. Hi from Mexico. So I just wanted to start by sort of demystifying the crust dyeing process, mostly because a lot of people who reach out to me, I know, are just intimidated. It's expensive to mess up an alligator, and if you're not stupendously confident with dyeing veg tan leather, getting an alligator crust can sort of take frustration to a whole nother level. Yes, he is. The system that I use obviously is Orion Calf, but I use pretty specific products for crust dyeing. They have a 4-part system, but I find that I need a lot more durability with stuff that I make, because I make a lot of stuff that's going to be outside. And I find that some of the products are for a more, luxury type of use, which would be fine for some of you. But to start off with, we want, if you've never used dye before, we want the liquid dye. We're going to turn around. We're going to take a look here. I like the big bottles, just so you know, because I dye stuff all the time. Okay. These particular dyes, nice liquidy, like anything that you might have used before, as far as, other brands. If you're not familiar with this particular system, the difference is this is a different carrier. It means it's a different solvent base. And that makes sort of all the difference when you're actually starting to dye crust. Okay. This, just so you know, for those of you guys who didn't watch Laura and I last week, this is a bag that we made from crust, and I dyed that. Little yellow, little red, little black. Okay, all liquid dyes. Okay. And here we have a crust from American Tanning. Now, for those of you who don't know, crust is unfinished. It's ready to accept dye. And if you guys have only ever dyed veg tan leather before, just so you know, the difference is obviously in the way it's tanned, but it also varies greatly in how much dye can be absorbed or how much product can be absorbed. No, it's not water-based. No, in fact, you shouldn't use water-based for crust. To be honest with you, you shouldn't really use water-based for veg either, not for long-lasting results. It dissipates really quickly, and it doesn't have much of a carrier. Most solvent-based dyes are actually or an isopropyl or ethylene sort of base, which also dissipates really fast. Orion Calf, their liquid dyes are acetone, which takes longer to dissipate and carries it farther into the substrate, which is why I use that. Orion has a few other products. They have some waxes and things like that, but I don't use them for crust. So if those of you who are starting, this is the place to go. Liquid dye. Liquid dye. Again, its sort of weight is just like anything else that you would use. I placed on my table just a couple of things that I use. I use like little plastic cups to mix things. If you're not like me and you need precise measurements, like these little daubers that you get from like essential oil stores or whatever, help you sort of gauge how much you're mixing. I use a bunch of different brushes, some for large coverage, some for like small little detail stuff. Daubers are fine. The thing with daubers, just for those of you again who have used them, it's not that they're not fine. It's just that they absorb a lot of dye, and then they just sort of put it all in one spot. So you can use that if that's all you've got. But I don't use them. I apply everything with like a t-shirt rag, and literally like it's an actual t-shirt. And the reason that I do that, just so you know, a lot of the effects that I do are really controlled. If you look at how thin a t-shirt is, I mean, really, you can't get a lot of dye on there, which means you can't blot it all over the place at once. Like you can only apply it in small amounts. And I'll show you the difference really. Like let's take our little dauber here, and we're just going to mess up a little bit of crust here because we can. So if we put the dauber down, like immediately you see like it wants to go a lot of places, right? Okay. So if we take a little t-shirt and we get a little dye on there, it actually absorbs the dye and kind of moves it around so that when you put it down, pretty much just goes where you put it. You see how it doesn't like move into the cracks and stuff like that? It's just a more controlled amount. So it just doesn't absorb as much, just doesn't hold as much. So you can actually just sort of control it. Yeah, you can spray it. It'll go through an airbrush for sure. And so if you're looking for even coverage, that's a great way to do that. I am not looking for even coverage when I do crust dyeing because the tannery does even coverage. Which, just so you know, that's kind of the whole sort of appeal of dyeing your own, is to get different effects that you can't get, you know, from the tannery. And I don't know, Christy, maybe if you can chime in. I don't know what it takes for you to do a custom finish or a custom color for somebody if they just wanted one skin, or if you even do that. But the crust allows you to make sort of what you want on your own. And it also allows you to piece your stuff up. Like, you know, you can get a couple of bifolds out of crust and dye in whatever color you want, as opposed to buying, you know, 4 different colored skins. You know, like it just allows you to utilize more of the alligator if, you know, you can't buy a skin every time you get a wallet order, and it allows you not to turn one down. I think, if you have to do that. Some of us who were just starting, I know it's hard to turn down a sale. Yeah, it's money. And, but it's also hard to just, you know, hope that the tannery has 1 skin of this or 1 skin of that available. 8 skins in a color for a custom color. So that's more than 1. That's more than 1 crust. And in your crust, you could get all kinds of colors. You know, you could get stuff out of the tail. Usually when I get a crust, first thing I do is I cut the arms and legs off to test my colors. I did it on this one. But these guys, unless they're really large, they're not great for a lot of making. So I usually use these to test the effects because there's a lot of good scale pattern in here and things like that. So if you guys aren't sure and you want to practice, get your crust. You got 4 practice pieces right here. Okay. Hello. I'm glad you joined us. I know you're bored. No, it doesn't darken over time. Yeah, it doesn't darken over time because it's not tanned the same way. It doesn't oxidize in the same manner as veg tan leather. Okay. Chrome tanned crust is basically designed to absorb color and keep it. And this particular system was designed for crust leathers, not specifically exotics, but for crust leathers. So it's designed to go in and sort of stay. And just so you guys know, I want to go over a little bit of science and I know some of you are interested, some of you aren't. But the reality is this particular system from Orion is basically an earth tone palette. Okay. And what that means is it's basically a more natural color. A lot of people contact me and ask me how to get brighter colors. The problem with brighter colors is that they absorb more light because they're a larger molecule. And the more light you absorb, the faster you fade. So that's why a lot of you, when you're dyeing stuff, you know, you have like a nice color at first and then you don't. The more light, the more sun something absorbs, the faster it fades. It's sort of the same with water based dyes. It seems like it's a nice thing to do, environmentally friendly. But what you have after a couple of weeks is nothing. And that can be really frustrating if you're selling an alligator bifold for $600 or $700 or more for your customer to use that for a few weeks, and then you don't have any color. Okay. So as far as if you're just starting out, Christy always has, Christy from American Tanning. I know this is American Tanning's feed, but I'm Katie from K&M Leather, just so you guys know. I might have supposed to have introduced myself, but I don't work for Christy. She just asked me to log in on her feed. But she usually has crusts that are pretty low grade for great practice. They're really inexpensive. I think she's doing buy one, get one free now if you guys want to practice what we're talking about here. But you can get a low grade crust for sometimes $100, $125 and practice and get your technique down. And then when you're, you know, going to go, you know, sell something, you can get, you know, a higher grade. Yeah, you can buy a lower grade. Not only can, when you finish it, it ends up being a little bit higher quality, but it also, you know, again, can save you some money. Because again, you can cut around some of this stuff. This is, I think, a grade 5. I mean, and there's just little pock marks in there. I'll usually take those and turn them into something cool. You know, it doesn't hurt the substrate at all. If your client is paying, you know, a gajillion dollars for something, they might want no scars or whatever. But if they're paying that much, you can afford to buy the better crust. So I would just want to sort of go over one or two little techniques with you guys sort of quickly. A lot of people ask me how to do my two-tone alligator. It's not really super complicated, but the kind of cool thing about it is that again, you can do it yourself. You can do tones that are, you know, like light to dark, or you can do one color on top of another. And that kind of gives you, again, that ability to sell something that's a little bit more unique looking than just a solid color. We're just going to do a small little section over here of cheek. And I don't know what color I'm using here, but I'll figure it out. Oh, look, blue. Be helpful if I dipped in the same thing. Okay, so you see how dark this goes on? It's going to dry a lot lighter. And again, for those of you who have seen your dye dry pretty quickly, that's because, again, it's an isopropyl base, so it dissipates almost immediately. This acetone base, it takes its sweet time. And all it means is it's absorbing into the substrate more. Okay? Anybody get that? So it takes a second. These darker spots here, it's still just wet. And again, it's just going to take a little bit longer to dry, and that crust is going to absorb it. And here's something that you need to know if you're going to dye your own crust. You can get it to a certain color, and you're going to go, gosh, that just looks sort of dull and matte and not very exciting at all. Whenever you polish and finish your crusts or burnish them, they will end up 1 to 2 shades darker than the dye that you put down. So keep that in mind when you are dyeing crust. This is an alligator. And Christy, she sometimes, yeah, she'll sell like, you know, legs or scrap or things like that sometimes too. So yeah, grade 1 is usually free. Grade 2 is usually free of any problems in the belly too. So even though we're going to let this dry for just a second, we're going to take, you know, another color and put that over it. Like maybe cognac, which doesn't make any sense, I know, but that's what we're going to do. And all I'm just going to do is just add just a little bit to my rag here. Okay, just a little bit. And I'm just going to flatly lay it over the blue. As you can see, it didn't get into the cracks. Okay, and it's just because, again, very little dye, very lightly, flat rub over the other color. And it gives it a two-tone effect. Can everybody see that? Yeah, Greg won. Yeah, that's flawless in the belly for sure. Yep. Scraps. Scraps are good. Legs, necks, chins. Okay, mixing the colors, actually, that's actually a good question because with this particular system, they don't mix on the skin. Okay, so you want to mix them in the vessel. You take it just a few drops.
Hey, Kate.
Yeah.
I got I got that strip you did for me to show what happens when you put dye on other dye. You want me to show people?
Well, that's on the French calf.
Yeah, that's true. Does it do
Okay.
differently on the alligator?
Yeah, it does.
Awesome.
Yeah. Did you not know that?
I never tried it.
You should take my class. Okay, so we just did a little dauber of red and a little dauber of blue. Now, again, these are earth tones, so what you're going to get really is plum. Okay? But you can't mix them on the skin. Okay? You got to mix them in a vessel. If you're going to put them on the skin, one of them is just going to go sort of on top of the other. As you can see, like the cognac I put over the blue, it's darker, but it didn't mix with the blue and make a different color. Oh, you can show. Okay, Christy says you can show that.
Okay, so those are single drops of dye on a particular color base, and so you can go to black. When's the last time you put a drop of red dye on something you dyed black and had it turn red? Never. So I think that's amazing that it does that.
I sent that to Greg, and it was like 2 days before he talked to me again. I think he had to absorb that for a while.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Again, you guys, that has everything to do with the solvent base. Your other dyes aren't going to do that. And for those of you who have other dyes, and I just want to address this, anything that's oil-based is not going to work on crust for the long term. Please do not use anything that has oil mixed in, so no pro dyes. And also, just so you know, you can make your own pro dyes by just adding your own oil if you're doing veg. But oil tanned or oil-based dyes, they just don't work on chrome tan leather the same way. Okay? So here we mixed a little color and we got kind of a light plum. If we added a little bit more blue, it'd be a little bit more blue plum. If we added red, obviously it'd be a little bit more of a maroon color, which is also pretty. You could take, again, you can leave things this color, or you could lightly go over it with like black or something to give yourself a two-tone effect. Again, if you just want to get the tips of the scale, just use a flat brush or your flat t-shirt. Okay. This just sort of, again, gives you just the ability to create more tonality in your crusts, which is actually one of the things I get asked about the most. Okay. You see it just went right over the other color. Yeah, you can, it's like dry brushing, and it's really just because you don't, if dry brushing, it's the same concept as that I use with the t-shirt. Like the less that's on there, the less you're going to actually cover the surface. It's just not going to bleed and blot in there like if you're using a dauber. Okay, that's sort of the idea. Now, a lot of people are asking me sometimes, like, how do we do a resist, or how do we do this, that, or the other? You don't need to. And you shouldn't. In fact, a lot of resists, they're not all created the same. Again, most people are looking at products that are used for veg tan leather that they're used to. Many of them, they don't transfer over to chrome tan crusts. To finish your crusts, first of all, I want to show you how this is going to work here for a second. We're just going to burnish this just a little bit. And burnishing is just rubbing, okay? And you see how all of a sudden it's starting to shine up? No, I'm not going to go over an effect that complicated. This is just a little half-hour video. In fact, we're already kind of past our time. But that's pretty. The Himalayan effect is pretty complicated. It takes a lot of layering, and it even took me a while to figure out. But anyways, here's your little burnished, shiny scales, and all I did was go over it, you know, with the finger and just rub. It's just creating a little friction, and as you can already see, the color is a lot more vibrant on there than the scales next to them.
Yeah.
Okay. The product that I use to finish and buff, I use this Orion Calf Neutral Cream Wax. Okay. No, I'm a little twisted leather. I'm going over that right now. Yeah, you rub it for a burnish, but when you want to polish it and give it sort of a more durable sort of finish and seal, this neutral wax, it's like a little paste wax. Okay. See? Really nice and smooth. We're going to just go over what we just lightly burnished. Okay. And we're just going to leave that for a few seconds while it sort of dries. This is kind of a similar concept to, you know, those of you who use waxes to seal. This is a natural sealant. It's not going to clog the pores of your alligator and make it feel plasticky or anything like that. So that's why we use this. It gives it a little bit of a soft sheen, a nice little shine along with the burnish. It's pretty water resistant, although not all the time. Like if you're, you know, this is still not something I'd suggest that you go out and carry your alligator bag around in the rain. But it will give you the time to dry it off. It's a lot more durable than like a glazed finish. Probably not as durable as a Millennium, if any of you are familiar with that. So we gave it a second. We can see that it started to get a little bit hazy. Okay, that's any sort of wax-based finish or polish. You kind of wait till it gets hazy. And then again, all you're going to do is burnish it up. And burnishing is, it literally is just using friction to polish. Okay? And look at this shine and this beautiful color that we have here and how much deeper it is than when we started.
I love that trick every time.
Yeah. Well, that's all we did here. Okay. Just so you know, for those of you wondering, this bag that we just did recently, you see this beautiful shine on it? Literally just neutral cream wax and elbow grease. You can use like a horsehair brush if you're shoe people. Horsehair brushes are amazing. As far as, because you can get into the cracks and crevices a little more, but we see the shine that we have here. Look at that. And the color, that's just from burnishing and polishing. And that is about as complicated. Here, let me talk to you guys for a second. As it is at first, okay? So it's not as if this is so difficult that, you know, even beginners can't do it. It's just starting in the right place that's sort of important, and starting with the right products. Because if you use something that doesn't dissipate into the substrate, like Pro Dyes, if you try to use something like a finish like acrylic resin, you're just going to destroy your alligator. The way that it's tanned, it has all the stuff in it that you really need for it to be finished sort of on its own. You just have to bring it out with a little heat and friction, and that you can use a glass burnisher. You can use, you know, again, I just use a cotton t-shirt. Thanks. You can use like the wood daubers that they use for like edge burnishing. You can just wrap a t-shirt around that and do that too. You don't need to go out and buy a ton of equipment to do this, but you just have to start in the right place. If you go to Orion Calf to buy dyes.
Thanks, Jenny.
These are liquid dyes.
Dyes.
Dyes. These are liquid dyes. Okay. If you go to the Orion Calf website, you're going to see that they have liquid dyes, they have dye wax, they have cream wax, and
That's
they have,
backwards. If you
it
could
is,
read this, it says
there you go.
live 20. And for 24 hours, you can get 20% off anything you buy at orioncalf.com.
Yeah.
All lowercase, live 20. Next time I'll print that.
I'm gonna probably clean you out though, so there won't be enough for everyone else. But that's okay. But this is where you want to start. You want to start with liquid dye. You want to start with the better solvent base, which is the acetone. You want to be free of oils. You want to be free of plastics. So no acrylic paint, no acrylic resin, nothing that's just going to sit on the surface of the leather. White dye. Okay, so as far as the white dye is used to just basically increase the opacity of the other colors. If you want to keep the crust white, you need the dye wax, because white is still a pigment, meaning it doesn't, completely absorb. It stays on the surface a little bit because it has to reflect light for it to be white, just so you know. Denatured alcohol is what we use to dilute. I don't think it comes in a set. You just have to grab the colors that you want.
Yeah, out the cart. Pick and choose.
Yeah. The dye wax, the white dye wax I found will stay on the surface, and it actually is really durable. But the trick to the white dye wax, just so you know, is I actually take a hair dryer after I do a layer and I heat it up and buff it, and that helps sort of disperse it evenly. But heating helps sort of open the pores, and it also helps sort of liquefy the wax so that it spreads even. Okay. Yeah, Matt, it's denatured alcohol to dilute it. No, you don't need to dilute it. You don't have to. It's just to lighten it. And for those of you who have used other dye brands before, I don't know if you've ever diluted black, but you get blue, red, brown, and green. Acetone is not safe to use as a cleaning product. It will strip your alligator. But I lost where I was at. Hang on.
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. They can't ship to Pakistan.
The dyes
can't. Air.
Yeah, the dyes can't ship.
Yeah, for cleaning questions, you guys, on stuff that comes from a tannery, Christy can help you with that, on the products to use for that. Yep, dyeing wax white. There you go. That's what you need.
We can ship leather to Pakistan, but the dyes are flammable, so they can't get it on an airplane.
Yeah.
So.
But anyways, what I was saying is that heat helps you guys, the waxes liquefy, so it helps them spread more evenly, so that you don't get it clumping in places. So whether you're finishing with the neutral cream wax or you're actually using the wax-based dyes for something else, a little bit of heat, gentle heat, helps with that.
Jeffrey says if you order enough, we can ship to Pakistan.
Jeffrey will take it with him. It's carry on. Yeah. Okay. So for those of you, again, it's really simple to get started. Regular brushes, by the way, like I use the cheapest brushes and products like possible as far as application. Kelly Clarkson. Anyways, because they're solvent based, they're going to destroy anything. If you're artists already, do not use your horsehair or sable brushes to apply anything. That's silly. It's going to destroy them anyway. So use the cheapest chip brushes or craft brushes that you can for application, because it's going to destroy them anyway. And then again, the products just to get started are your liquid dyes and your neutral cream wax. And I picked the neutral. It comes in other colors. It comes in other tints. I use the neutral the most because everything I do has like multiple colors. So you don't want to get the green cream wax and finish your purple alligator because it'll tint it. obviously. So the neutral kind of goes over all the colors. And then again, to finish, you guys don't use veg tan finishes, just burnish, not canvas. Use cotton. Canvas is really sort of abrasive. Again, we're not trying to, get a veg tan edge here. We're trying to get, just the color and stuff out of the leather. Okay. We're just starting, we want to get this soft sort of shine and this protect it. Okay. That's what we want right there. And again, full coverage on the bottom, just use, a dauber or a wider brush to get, more even application into the cracks. And on the top, use a different color and just go really light. And you'll get like a pretty quick two-tone effect. You've got plenty of alligator that you can cut into different sections. Yeah, they can only really be used on non-dyed. Usually if it comes dyed from the tannery, it usually has some type of finish on it, or at least it's been burnished and it won't accept the dye. Just so you know. Yeah, I want all the crusts. Buy one, get one free. I want all those. I want the 20% off too. I want all this stuff too.
Get it.
So if you guys, it's not Barry, it's not a sealer. It means the color won't rub off. You never want to seal any really of your leather goods. Sealing tends to mean that you're closing the pores down, which is pretty unhealthy for the leather. You just want to sort of polish and burnish it. Yeah. I don't know if I have anything with me. I think, Greg, do you have the alligator I sent you?
I have a small one. There's a little bitty one.
Yeah. That's a big one.
It's pretty though, isn't it?
My Instagram is knm.leather. That's where you can see most of my work. Like I have one alligator sitting next to me. So this is sort of this is like a 4-tone blue though, just so you know. It's turquoise, it's navy, it's got black in it. It's got white as the base, but it's also been mixed with some brown and some black to create kind of taupe. As far as color fastness, these dyes are color fast, especially on crust. They're designed to be that way. Almost all color eventually needs to be touched up at some point. Mostly, I mean, that's anything, even when it comes from a tannery. Your shoes will fade, your purse will fade, things like that. For alligator, what I find is that just a repolish and a reburnish will bring it up to speed again, unless it's been like left out in the sun. And you should never do that. You should never leave alligator or your luxury leathers out in the sun. You just shouldn't. Okay, I think we ran over quite a bit, and I'm sorry about that. But if you guys have dye questions, you can direct them to Greg. As far as the products go, we just sort of wanted to get you started. If you've never dyed crust before, if you were a little intimidated or thought that maybe you couldn't do it, and then just also so you know, makers, Christy always has something that you guys can grab to practice on. You can polish the natural color, but it's still gonna fade. It's designed to absorb color. It really would like to be another color. So even if you went like a gray dilute and get yourself a greige color or something, it really wants to be a color. It's designed to absorb color. Most chrome 10 leathers are. Okay, it looks like we're gonna. Yes, I am very high tech. Okay, so I think we're gonna log off. And you guys, again, this was Christy's account. My account is knm.leather. If you want to see what I do, but crust questions and dye questions, go to Orion Calf, and obviously American Tanning, and get yourself some crust and get started.
Thanks,
Okay.
Kate.
Okay. Yes. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.